Hi, my name is Karina Akidal. I'm the managing editor of Canadian Auto Dealer, and I'm here with Michelle Miller from MNP, who's going to tell us a little bit about some of the critical actions that dealers should be taking, or need to take at least, during this difficult period, this COVID-19 crisis. So, on to you, Michelle.
Thank you so much for having me, Karina. Um, yeah, initially we had thought, something important for dealers to be doing right now, if they haven't already done so, is to look at doing some cash flow forecasting. This will give dealers the information that they need to make some of the important decisions that are coming up over the next few months. It will help to answer important questions such as, what is your cash flow break even point? How long will your cash reserves last in a worst case scenario? How much more cash will you need if this continues for another 2, 3, 4 months? Do you have access to the capital that you will need in that worst case scenario? Another consideration with the cash flow forecasting is the timing of payments. There's a lot of programs out there that are allowing deferral of payments, whether it be deferring your curtailments or deferring property taxes, income taxes. Again, these are just deferrals, and so eventually these payments are going to come due and potentially all at the same time. And so incorporate that in your cash flow forecasting and determine whether you can make those payments when they do come due.
Now, on top of that, are there any other programs that dealers should be aware of that they should kind of tap into, or that you can speak to?
Absolutely. And I'm sure everyone is inundated with all of the information out there these days, and there's many programs becoming available all the time. Many jurisdictions have announced property tax deferral programs. The BDC and Export Development Canada have implemented some working capital loans that are available. And then, of course, we've got the wage subsidy, which is a hot topic these days. The legislation was enacted this past weekend, and to say the least, it is complicated. There's many criteria that needs to be considered. For example, the decline in revenue test requires that a business remove anything related to a non-arm's length party. So if a dealership is doing business with another dealership that is owned by the same group, potentially that revenue would need to be removed from the revenue test. There's more detail than that, but that's the basic understanding of that. You can also choose to calculate the decrease in revenue based on a consolidated basis instead of individually on a store basis. So if you're part of a group of dealerships, that might be a consideration if you think on a group you would be eligible versus on an individual basis you may not be eligible. And then there's also quite a few considerations to think about in regards to the government has indicated that there's some harsh penalties for anybody who's going to misuse this program, and so we're just trying to be careful in regards to making sure that we follow all the criteria that they've laid out. And so I would recommend consulting with your advisor to make sure that you're taking the right steps in regards to the wage subsidy.
Good advice. They've already provided several updates at this point, so I imagine there may be more updates to come. Now, you had mentioned, so this is one program, this is a federal program. In terms of provincial programs, is there anything you can speak to in terms of individual provinces and what dealers should know?
Absolutely, and it seems every province has taken a different stance on this and has different programs. So, example, in BC, the government is allowing employers to defer their health tax payments. The government of Alberta is deferring WCB payments. The province of Saskatchewan announced a Crown utility interest deferral program, so they're waiving interest on any late bill payments. Manitoba is extending tax filing deadlines, as are many of the provinces. Quebec has a new website, or sorry, Ontario has a new website that will allow businesses to access some low-cost advice. So many programs across the board, and those are just a few of them. There's many more. So I would recommend checking in with the provincial website on a fairly regular basis, just to understand what programs are out there to help you.
Great. And so great advice for dealers to consider. Thank you so much, Michelle, for taking the time to do this interview. And I wish you and your family good health and safety during this very difficult period.